Okay. Good evening. Just waiting to see some, oh, there we go. Perfect. As soon as I see those little eyes pop up, then I know everything is good. Welcome to the October calendar launch party. Who's excited? I'm excited. I was just chatting with Shelby. She said she's ready. Hopefully she doesn't have to do much. I'm ready. What a day. How did you guys do today? Did you have a good day? Don't they all seem to go by so fast now? I feel like I'm on a, I don't know, like a high-speed train. And it just keeps moving forward. Okay. So we're just going to give everyone just a minute here to find the video. And then we are going to get going because I've got lots to cover. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot water. Let me just get a little bit of water. What should I put it in? Okay, I'll be right back. Just need a little splash of water. Okay. Where should I put that? How about over here so I don't spill it? Okay, so welcome. We are going to do the launch party for the October calendar page. There's been quite a few people in the store this week asking when the live was going to be, and I keep telling everyone it's my favorite page that I've done so far. But I think I said that in September, and I think I said that in August, and I think I said that in July. so they're all my favorite. But this is my favorite October page I've ever done. So I'm excited to share it with you. Right now you are looking at the bundle part right here. And one of the things that I'm really excited about sharing with you are rub-ons. We are going to be working with rub-ons this month. Rub-ons used to be a thing back in the day. And they're sort of making a resurgence. And we've been telling everyone how great they are and how much fun they are to use. So I was excited to include them in the October bundle. So along with that, you're going to get half of a paper pad, a 6x8 paper pad, and you're going to get some enamel dots and some cardstock, and we're going to turn it into something really great. So for right now, I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm going to bring the layout on to show you. Are you ready? So here it is, the October calendar bundle layout, which I just love. I love the clean, crisp look that I created with the very white backgrounds, and we do some stenciling through here in this midsection. I brought back some shaped photos. A few months back, we did hexagon photos, and this time I decided to go with circles. Okay, the comments are coming through. So Lisa says she's loving all the new crafting techniques I'm learning to do. And I am loving the creativity that this allows me. So I'm glad that you guys like it. And what is Sharon saying? Oh my God, I love it. The best for sure. Until next month, right? Yes, it is so fun to be able to create using a variety of products and techniques. So super fun. Obviously, stenciling has been a feature that keeps coming up over and over. I can't get enough of it. It really allows me to create my own sort of paper, which is a lot of fun to do. So what I'm going to do is just pull this off the screen, and I'm going to go through some of the, actually, let's not do that yet. Yes, I'm going to pull this off the screen. I'm going to go through some of the options. Now, for some of you, this is going to be kind of repetitive because if you've been part of this series since the beginning, I talk about this every time. But we are getting so many new people that are buzzing around this calendar thing. So I want to make sure that we explain to them how it gives you options and sort of the avenues that you can take. because not everybody watches this live. The trickle effect from this video is pretty huge, and people will watch this tomorrow, and then tomorrow I'm going to send an email out, and then everyone will get the email, and then they go back and they watch the video. So we're always getting new people checking it out. So this is my favorite version of our bundle. And the reason I say that is because this will go into my actual scrapbook album, which is where my heart lies when it comes to paper crafting. So for me, that is my goal, is to get the page into an album so I can enjoy it. Now, for some of you, you're not interested in this calendar part over here. You're really just interested in this part here. So this wouldn't go into your album. You're just more interested in a traditional scrapbook page where it would not include this part. So that is an option for you as well. But then there's also people that will take this and they will mount it onto a blank calendar, which they will hang on their wall for next year, or they'll give as a gift. So it does give you 3 options. If you want to go this route, this paper here is an add-on, which I will talk about add-ons in a few minutes, but it looks like this, and that will allow you to expand this to a 2-page layout. Now I did pull my album out, and I forgot to bring September's page home. It's still hanging on the wall at the store. It is sold out, but so this is my album for the 2023 calendar series. Okay, let me get this out of the way so I can pull it over and you can actually see most of it anyway. So this is way back when we started in January. And you can see stenciling was a part of it then. And then this is our February page. And I remember when I created this, I included some stamping on here, and it just blew my mind. I was so excited to share it. Everyone loved it. And then this is our March page. I know you're getting a bit of a glare from the lights. Then we've got April and May. June. June was a good one. We've got July, and this is where I pulled in the hexagon photos. I remember how excited I was to share that, how much fun it was to do. This is August. I don't have September, but now we're already in October. I can't believe it. I will be creating a page for our cover page, so that will be coming. I don't know exactly when, but it will be coming. So that is something to look forward to. So that gives you kind of the lowdown on how we envision these pages to work. So you do have options. They can either be a single page layout. They can do the single page layout and you can put it on the top of a blank calendar, or you can add on this calendar part here and slip it right into your album. So in between your monthly pages, if you have other things that happen during the month, you can certainly scrapbook those and slip them into the same album and carry on that way. For those of us who don't have a lot of time to scrapbook, that would be me. I am loving this because I get the important parts of my month out where I can see them and into my album. So that's the whole goal. So bundles, they go live after my live tonight. So they are not available for purchase until the live is finished. And then we will populate them, and they can be found on the homepage of our online store. You will see a blurb that says calendar series. You'll click on that. You'll go in there and you'll see a bunch of months. When I went in, October didn't have a picture of October. It's just a blank square, but you can see all the other months are there. So you just click on the one labeled October. You go in there and then you will see the bundles, and you will see all the add-on things that we are using this month. So if you want to purchase any of those are there. So I already kind of went over what comes in the bundle quickly when we first came on. But in addition to those materials, you're also going to get a photo, a 4x6 photo that will be inside your bundle. So that is just for reference on what the layout looks like. And then we also give you a label on your bag with a QR code on it. And if you scan that with your phone or your tablet, that will take you right to this video that we're doing right now on all of the information on how to, on what measurements I use for things, how to assemble any technique demos, etc. So when you're ready to sit down and put your page together, you don't have to go back through all of our videos that we've posted to find the October video. You just have to scan that QR code and it takes you right there. So that is what comes in the bundle. Now, the other thing I want to remind you of is that the bundles, even though if you order them today or tomorrow, they will not be ready for shipping or pickup until Tuesday next week. There's just a few things that we need to finish up once people order. We need to get your labels created and onto your bags and clear those orders out. And so we will begin shipping / adding them to the bags on Tuesday. Okay, so wait for your notification that it's ready, and then you can go ahead and ship or pick up whatever you would like. So at this point, I'm going to walk through all of the cutting for each of the papers and where we place them and so on. So this will be for reference when you are ready to start your creating. So to start with, you get a sheet of the Color Vibe terracotta paper. So I am using the dotted side this time. I put my sticky note on the wrong side. So the great thing about Color Vibe paper, it's one of my favorite cardstocks that we carry in the store, and it is dotted on one side and solid on the other. So it gives you that option. So I don't know if you can see the dots on the camera. Let's pull them up there so you can. So it's kind of just a tone on tone, subtle dot. So I am going to be having dot side up this time. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut the barcode off, and then you want to leave the paper at 12 by 12, but what you're going to do is cut the middle of it out, leaving a 1-inch border. So I'll just flip my paper over so you can see here. Now, I did this because the area that we cut out here can be used as a header over here if you want. So if I pull out my album from pages on previous months, almost all of them, I think actually all of them, have paper over here behind the calendar month letters. So all of them have that. Now this month I didn't, and there's a reason why I didn't. It was sort of a design thing. I'll just point it out here. I left mine white. First of all, because I was using rub-ons and I wanted those to really pop against the paper. But the other thing is, if you'll notice, 2 of the rub-ons, one says autumn, one says thankful. All of the letters are different colors in the rub-on, so I kind of mimicked that over here. So I kind of wanted it to tie together. So I did not use the terracotta paper that I would normally cut out of the center here as the header for the calendar part on the page. So in theory, you don't really have to do that step if you don't want to, but it is kind of a waste of paper because you're just going to put this white sheet right over top, and none of that is really going to be visible. So I go ahead and cut that out, and then you can use that cardstock for other things. So I will show you how I cut the center out when I do the demo portion of the video. But just know that you need a 12 by 12 piece, and I recommend cutting the middle out, leaving a 1-inch border on this. Okay, so that's for that paper. And then next up, we are going to talk about the white background sheet. So this one is the one that we're going to be doing our stenciling on. So that's going to be this piece right here where we stencil all through the center. So what I would recommend doing is after you do your stenciling, you want to cut this paper down to measure 11.5 by 11.5. You may decide that you want to take the full 1/2 inch right off one side, but you might also decide to take a 1/4 inch off each side, depending on how your stenciling looks. And then you can decide whether you want to take a 1/4 off top and bottom, or the full 1/2 off the top or the bottom, just depending on how your stenciling works out on your page. So I recommend doing that cutting after you do your stenciling. Okay, so that's what you're going to do with that one. And then inside this paper pad, believe it or not, there is quite a bit of paper in here. You get lots and lots of options. We are using 2 sheets. So I really zeroed in on this sort of mustardy yellow color. I really thought it worked well with my photos. It worked well with the inks I chose and the rub-ons that we were using. So I actually only used 2 sheets out of the whole pad. So you get a huge bonus where there are lots of extra papers that you can create projects with. So the first paper we're going to focus on is this floral one here. And you may decide that you want to use completely different papers, and that's entirely up to you. But they're going to be for the circles behind my photos. So if you find that you want a little bit more pop in your color, or you have photos that work better with other colors that are in the papers, feel free to change them up however you like. But from this one here, this floral, you're going to be cutting 2 circles that measure 4 inches by 4 inches by 4 inches. They're not square. Just 4 inches. You want a 4-inch circle 2 times out of this paper. And then the other one is this one here, this check. And that is going to be a 4-inch circle as well, but you only need 1. Okay? So 2 from the floral and 1 from the check. And that's all you're using out of the whole entire pad. All right. And then, of course, we have the rub-ons, which I'm going to demo near the end, but you also have this paper here. So from this paper, we are going to be using the rub-on that says autumn and the rub-on that says thankful. And if you notice on my layout, they're popped up. So that is, oh, maybe you can't notice. Let's stand this up. So there is some dimension there. Okay, they're raised up from the page. That's optional. You can rub the word right onto your white paper here, and right here, right onto your calendar paper. But to me, everything was looking kind of flat, so I thought it would be cool to pop it up. And in order to do that, I rubbed on the words onto this white sheet, and then I fussy cut them out. So that might sound terrifying, but it's really not that bad. I can't demonstrate that to you because I don't want to waste another set of rub-ons. We want to be able to sell a kit to a customer. So I can't demonstrate how I cut them out, but I will demonstrate how I use the rub-ons and just some little tips and tricks for doing that. So I'll revisit this a little bit further into the video. But that is why you have this piece of paper here. So that's just in... Yes, I know fussy cutting is not everyone's favorite. But in this particular case, I think you will find the torture will be worth the reward. Okay, let's put it that way. So I'm not a big fan of fussy cutting either, especially kind of freehanding around words. It's not something I love to do. But it did turn out great, and I did like the option of being able to pop it up. So I have some tips on how you can make your cutting smoother, and also how to hide your imperfections. So it's pretty easy. Okay, so we went over the bundle. Okay, walk through the cutting. Okay, so now the next thing I get a lot of questions on is the size of my photos. And I'm not going to get into a big photo discussion. I am not an expert on photo printers by any means. I will tell you why I choose to print my own photos. For me, I have very limited crafting time. And when I have that window of time, I want to be able to start and finish a project. So in other words, I don't want to get into the creative process and then go, okay, these are the photos I need, order them, wait for them, and then revisit my project. So for me, it's very, very much necessary for me to be able to print my own photos. So I do print all my own photos, and I like the option of being able to print different sizes. Now, the way I do that is I have some apps on my phone. I don't just use one app. I use several different apps. There's lots and lots of them out there. Basically, I just look for collages that I like in the app, and I can print on a 4x6 photo. I can print multiple pictures in different sizes, And then that way it allows me to get different size photos in different configurations. And I think that makes it very interesting to look at. So all 3 of these photos over here were 4x6 photos to start with. And then I used a circle die to cut out the pictures. So when I was doing these pictures, I looked through my photos for October, and I was trying to find photos that were similar in, I don't know what the right word is, but I wanted the subject of the photo to be similar closeness to me. So like if I zoomed in on the boys, I wanted to put a photo here where we were fairly composition. I didn't know if that was the right word. Okay, composition. That's what I was going to say, but then I didn't want to, you know, say the wrong thing and people go, that's not what that means. Yes. So in other words, these are fairly zoomed in. So I didn't want to have photos that were really zoomed out and close up in the same thing. So I kind of looked for photos that were similar. Can you share your photo print apps on a separate message? I can tell you them. Oh, I can't tell you them because, like, maybe I can. Just let me see. I think they'll probably be on my iPad too. Let me just see if I can. How do you get to your home screen? Oh, there we go. Let me just have a quick look. Okay, so one of them that I use is called PicFrame. So PICFRAME. I have no idea if it's a paid app or a free app, and I use an iPhone. So I don't know if they are available on Android. I do use the Project Life app sometimes too, because they have some collages in there. I think I deleted the other app because it had too many ads. So I'd say those are probably the 2 that I use the most. Mainly PicFrame. But like I said, do a search in your app store and see what you come up with, because there might be other apps out there that have collages in it that you would use more often. And I think most apps have the basic collages where you're printing on a 4x6 photo and you're either adding like 4 pictures or 3 pictures or 6 pictures or 9 pictures or whatever you want to do. Because I end up, once I print that 4x6 photo, I cut it all apart anyways. I don't usually use it as a full collage photo, although I've done that on layouts before, but in this instance, I don't. Yeah, so just watch your composition on your photos, and try to, you know, have photos that are similarly taken, as far as whether they're close up or far away. And then on this side of the page, I generally choose groupings of photos where we were doing similar things. So these actually were all taken on the same day, but we were doing different things. In this, we were picking up pumpkins up here. We were just checking out the rest of the place that we were at in these photos. And then here we went back to their house and we roasted marshmallows on an open fire, which was really fun. And of course the boys are picking out photos. And this photo here was actually a bike ride that my son and I went on in the fall as well. So it wasn't even on this day, but it worked out really good for the layout. So sort of a main event here, and then just other things that have happened throughout the month. Because in my situation, I'm probably not going to go back and scrapbook other layouts before I do my November page. So I tried to get on the main things here. But if you find you need to do some extra pages, you know, by all means, it's an awesome way to sort of start your month off with this page and then, you know, move into some other layouts. So as far as measurements go, these circles here are 3.5 inches. So 1/2 inch less than the 4-inch circle that's in the background. So that gives you like a nice 1/4 inch border, which allows that pattern paper to show through. And then over here, the horizontal photos ended up measuring 1 3/8 up and down, and then 2 1/4 in length. Now, obviously you have flexibility in that area to make them a little bit longer if you want to, depending on the subjects in your photos. And then all my vertical photos here, they are 1 1/4 inches this way and 2 inches up and down. And I just kept them kind of uniform so that it just looks pleasing to the eye. So that is the photo part. And then I'm just going to go over some of the add-ons that we used this month before I do the demos. So I have a list. So the first thing that I'm going to point out that I used are a good set of circle dies. So if you've not ever seen the infinity dies from Hero Arts, I think they are the best value on the market, and they give you the most dies. So in this particular set, there are 18 circle dies in here. There's no stitching or anything on them. They're just plain circles. I do have other dies. I probably have more dies that have stitching on them than plain. But a good set of dies that have nothing on them is a really good addition to your craft space. With the photos, I don't always want stitching on them. I just wanted them to be plain. If I was doing anything with stitching, I might do the paper with stitching and then the top one without, or the other way around, but I probably wouldn't do 2 layers of stitching. So I definitely would want a set that has a solid circle with no stitching. So again, 18 different size circles, and they go as large as 4.5 inches and as teeny tiny as the one in the center there, which is very, very tiny. Great for confetti, or if you didn't have enamel dots, you could use them as embellishments on your pages just to bring in colored circles. It's kind of fun to do. So if you have not invested in any shape dies at all, maybe you're not a card maker. I'm a card maker as well as a scrapbooker. So I have a lot of card making supplies that I'm starting to bring over into my scrapbooking. And I would say that this kind of qualifies as a card making supply. Most people would say it would be. But I totally think it is very fun to use on my pages. So if you don't have circle dies and you're looking for something else, you can certainly just make 3 square photos if you want to, which you can do with your trimmer. A while back we used hexagons, so you could put larger hexagons here if you want. I love the circles. I think they are really fun to work with, and I definitely recommend the infinity dies in the circle format. Now, the infinity dies are available in other shapes. We just got a shipment. Unfortunately, right now we can't get all of them in because Hero Arts is sold out of a few of them, so we're having a bit of trouble getting them. But we are watching and hoping to get them in eventually. But they've got everything from hearts to diamonds to your regular rectangles. They have ovals, circles, and they all come with multiple dies in it like this. So really good value. So that's the first add-on, is if you want to do the circles, you'll need circle dies. And then, and this is in no particular order, I'm just going through my list the way I have it written down. We are going to be using a couple different colors of ink, and that is to create our stenciled background. I'm using brushed corduroy, which is sort of that mustardy color that is in the paper here. And then I'm also using vintage photo for the acorns, and I will be doing the stenciling with you so you can see how those work. And those are the oxide inks. So the Distress Oxide inks, they are amazing to blend with. Very, very easy to use. One of my favorites for sure. And we're also going to be using it to do some splattering in the background too. So you'll see that technique demonstrated as well. And then of course, the star of the show is the acorn stencil from Simple Stories. It's a 6x8 stencil. And we will be working with it and moving it across our page, and only working with it in a limited area. So I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to do that. Plus, we're going to be using multiple colors on this. So the acorns are going to be one color and the hearts are going to be another color. So I'm going to show you how I achieve that look as well. So a great option for a stencil. The distressing tool. So I have 2 different ones that I love. This one here is from Sizzix, and it's got a longer handle, and the blade is a little more exposed on this one. And then this one here is from Tim Holtz. He teamed up with Tonic, and it's also a distress tool. So if I hold my paper up, if you look closely at the photos and the pattern paper, I have distressed the edges, meaning that I take this and I drag it along the edge, and I sort of scuff up the edges of my paper and my photo. And it does give it sort of like a raised edge, and it gives it a really nice distressed look. So it just adds some texture, which is really nice. I quite like doing that. So that's the tool I used for that. And then what else do we use? I also use walnut stain distress ink and this applicator here. And that is used for adding the brown ink around my photos and all of my papers. And then I also did it on the titles that I popped up, plus the October letters. I'll see if I can pull up. So if you look at the O in my title and the C, it kind of shows up a bit on there. And then another closer look at my photos and papers, you can see that there's that brown distressing around that. It really just softens everything and looks like it's nicely blended together. I also use mini blending brushes quite a bit on this layout, and that is to do the stenciling that you see in these areas here. Now, there are options for mini blending brushes. When I do ink blending, most of the time I will use a brush that is sort of this standard size. But that works if you're doing a larger area or all the whole area on your stencil is the same color, and that makes it really easy. But when you get into some of the more detailed stencils like the acorn one, this one has acorns scattered in different areas, and then they're mixed in with the hearts. And so I want to do 2 different colors, and I want to be able to get in those areas, so I need a smaller brush. Now, my new favorite are these ones from Altenew. Now, we don't have these in the store yet, but they are en route right now. So we will have these. I will say that they are a little pricier than the normal mini ink blending brushes that you see that look like this. So you'll have to decide whether the investment is worth it for you. I will be using these often in my videos. I saw Jennifer McGuire use these many times, and I thought, well, I already have many blending brushes. I don't need another set. But through a few retailer events that I have been doing, I have accumulated 8 of these. And I thought, well, I'm going to give it a try. And wow, I was very impressed. So impressed that I actually ordered myself a full set, and we are bringing them into the store now. So you will see these coming. I quite like them. And that's the ones I'm going to use in my demo today. But other brushes that will work well are the Waffle Flower shader brushes. So that is this set here. And they're just like a round head like this with a little bit of a slant on them. I've put those in the add-on section so you can check them out. They're very nice to use and allow you to get into, what am I doing? I'm not showing you on the stencil, I'm showing you on paper. So you can focus on just one area on a stencil, whereas if you have a brush like this, that head is going to be way too big to do just a few acorns and not get it into the other area. So this type of brush is very good. The other one I just shared with you here are the mini blending brushes. The heads on these are smaller, and they are quite easy to work with in these areas too. They're more of an oval end, so they are a little longer. If you're careful, you can definitely do it. So that is another one that I would recommend. So that is the mini blending brush options that we have. Normally we carry the tailored mini blending brushes, but right now the blending brushes come with just white handles, and these colored pieces here are stickers, and Tailored is sold out of the stickers. I did contact my rep today, and they figure in the next week or two they'll have them back in, because we bundle the stickers and the brushes together. So if we order them right now, we aren't able to give you the stickers. So we're holding out until they get those stickers back in stock, and then we will have the brushes available again. A sanding block. I like to sand the edges of my pictures. I don't know how well it's going to show up on the camera, but my photos actually have a little white border around them, and that's because I've sanded the edges with a sanding block. And you simply take this and just brush it over the edges of your photo, and it just removes some of the print on there and exposes the paper underneath. And I love doing that. So that's where the sanding block comes in. And then we also use a calendar stamp. I had a couple of months where I didn't use it because this side was mostly covered with photos and I didn't have any open squares to do it on. But this month there were several that were open and I was able to use the stamp set again. So I love this one from Simple Stories. It has this little circle stamp, which is the little shadow that you see in behind, and then you stamp your number on top. So all your numbers are down here. So I stamp the shadow in the color that coordinates, and then I stamp the number over top. And not every square has a number, only the ones that are exposed will have the numbers on it. We also have another set from Lawn Fawn called Plan On It Calendar that is will work really well for this too. So that's also in the add-on section. And then I also recommend a mini stamping block just to stamp those numbers on. Working with a Misty, the paper is too big. It doesn't fit in there. So I just use a small stamp block to do that. And we have a set from Hero Arts that is in the add-on section if you're looking for something like that. And then the blank calendar page is also an add-on if you want to do the second half of the layout on this paper. You'll have to add one of these to your cart to be able to do that. And then we also have a bag of die cuts for sale that have the October letters in it. And this month they're all multicolored. So that is available if you want that. And then just a black ink that you'll use for stamping your numbers. And that is all of it. I mean, some of those items are sort of repetitive month after month, but some of them are specific to this layout. So all of those add-ons are available in that section right now. Sorry, just grabbing a drink. And then the bundle will become active as soon as I'm done. So now I'm going to demo cutting out this border piece for you, just to show you how I do that. So in order to do that, I use, I should have pulled this trimmer out before. I use my my older trimmer that has the blade that goes up and down, because I need to stop and start cutting at a specific point. And normally I cut with a guillotine trimmer, and you can't do that when you're using this style or this technique. So I'm going to remove the barcode. So let's just get that off there. Okay. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to put the edge of my paper on the 1 inch mark. Now, if you can't measure on this side of your trimmer cutting line, then you just move the paper down to 11 inches on this side. Then what you're going to do is you're going to start the blade at 1 inch. So you're not going to start at the top. You're going to start it at 1 inch, and you're going to stop at 11 inches down here at the bottom. Okay, so you're not going to go all the way through. And then you're going to rotate your paper and do the same thing again. So put the edge on 1, and then you're going to start cutting at 11 and stop at 1. Excuse me. And you do that on all 4 sides. And then all your lines should intersect or be pretty darn close. And the middle should just pop out. So that basically gives you a 10 inch by 10 inch piece of paper that you can then, if you want to use it as a topper for the calendar side, you can. But even if you don't, I mean, that's a lot of wasted paper that's just covered up by the white sheet that you can now use for something else. And this border piece, your white paper is going to go right over top. So even if your intersecting lines aren't exact, don't even worry about it, because the white paper is going to cover most of it up, or all of it up. You're only going to see a small area of that paper show through anyways. So it doesn't even matter if they're not perfect. So that's how you do the 1 inch border. The next thing I'm going to demo for you is the stenciling and the splattering. So I'm going to grab my white sheet of paper. Get rid of my sticky note. Now, like I said before, I would start with it at the 12-inch by 12-inch size. And then later on, we're going to cut this down to 11.5 by 11.5, but we'll do that afterwards. So the first thing you're going to want to do, and you have the benefit of me already creating the page to give you the parameters for your border. Okay, so what I would do is just take a ruler and you're going to put some pencil lines on the edge of your paper just so you know approximately where you're going to be stenciling. So when I created the page, I just kind of eyeballed it. I didn't really focus too much on, you know, the placement of everything, but you have the benefit of me always getting it done. I need you to do mine. I always cut all the way by accident. Okay, so I'm just going to measure here. So I'm going to measure down from the top, so the very top of the layout. So I would say we're going to about 4.5 inches down. So I'm just going to take my ruler and I'm going to put a pencil mark at 4.5 inches. Oops, you get to see my gray hair. And then same thing here. I'm just going to kind of measure, and it's about 2.25 inches up from the bottom. And again, I'm just going to put that pencil mark. Now, I'm going to use one of my favorite tools, and that is a T-square ruler. So I also put this in the add-on section. So this is made by the same company that makes the Misty, and I use this all the time now. I don't know whether it's age or eyesight or what, but I can't seem to get anything straight. So I think I have it straight, and I walk away and come back and I'm like, that's not even straight. So I rely on this quite a bit. And how it works is the T part you put on the edge of your paper, and then that will make sure that this is 100% straight. So I'm going to go ahead and put a pencil mark on the other side of my paper, just so I have that framework now for where I'm going to be stenciling. Okay, now when it comes to putting my layout together, this is where I also use the T-ruler a lot. So once I had my section stenciled, I want to make sure I get these circles straight. And yeah, you can eyeball it, lay it on there, but like I said, I don't seem to get anything straight anymore. I think it's straight, and then I'm like, that is not even close. So what I do is I kind of place my ruler where I want the base. What is going on here? Oh, I have an enamel dot here, that's why. So where I want the base of those circles to sit. And then I would just put my ruler there, and that way I can put the base of the circles right on top of the ruler all the way across, and I know 100% that is going to be straight. Same thing with this autumn word. When I'm ready to place it, I put my T-ruler right along the edge, and bam, I've got a very straight edge for my autumn. So I know it's going to be 100% straight. And the other place that I find it really helpful is on the calendar side. When I'm putting down these October letters, I can line this up, and then I know 100%. So I find the center of the word, and in this case it's the O, and that goes right above the Wednesday. And then I can work out from there. But I rest the top of the bottom of the letters right on the ruler all the way across, and it is straight 100% of the time. So it's a great little tool. If you don't have one, then it's a good investment. I quite like it. So now that we have this mapped out, we're going to go ahead and start stenciling. So I'm going to grab my ink pad holder thing here, because then it won't jump around on me. Oh. And then I'm going to grab my stencil. And this is where you have to decide what part of the stencil you're going to work with, because the stencil extends past the area that we're going to be stenciling in. And obviously it's not a 12-inch stencil, so it doesn't go all the way across the page. So when I do it, I don't want just a harsh edge. Like, I don't put the edge of my stencil here, because then you kind of end up with this harsh edge over here where your stenciling just starts. I kind of want to start it off the page. That way some of the acorns are kind of coming on and it looks nicer. So you want to make sure that, again, your stencil is straight. You don't want your pattern to be going on an angle. And that's where that trusty T-square ruler comes in, because the bottom of the stencil is way down here. So I'm just going to kind of get the general placement, and I'm going to make sure my stencil is straight. Okay, so I've got that there. Now what I'm looking for are my lines, because that is going to be important. Okay, they're here and here. So now I'm going to take some tape, and I'm just going to tape that in place. So you want to use a low tack tape, and I'm even going to just stick this onto my shirt and make it less tacky, because I don't want to rip the background of my layout. I'm just going to lightly tack that into place just so it doesn't move or shift while I'm stenciling. And now we're going to dive in. This is the fun part. So I'm going to do the acorns first. So I'm going to use the vintage photo first. And I am going to use these blending brushes, but like I said, any mini blending brush, anything you're comfortable with is fine. And I will repeat, anybody who's just jumping in now, we do not have these in the store yet, but they are coming. These are the Ultinew blending brushes. I was saying before that I really like them. I've just recently tried them. I love them. You're going to see me using them a lot moving forward. So I am going to use them tonight. So we're going to pick up some ink. Now I like to work on a glass surface. I didn't pull my glass mat out tonight. You can cheat and use the packaging that your stencil came in. Because what I like to do is I like to dab off extra ink. I don't want my color to be super harsh when I add it to my paper. And this allows me to go back and pick this ink up with the brush, and so then we don't waste it. And I'm going to start with the acorns. Now you want to be mindful of where your line is. I don't want anything going too far above that line where I have here, and I don't want it going too far below down here. So I'm actually just focusing on this area in the middle. So I'm going to start stenciling in the acorns. And I'm being very careful not to get it into the sections that the hearts are, because that is going to be where I'm going to be switching up colors. So I just kind of got my fingers here just to remind myself where I am starting and stopping. So now I'm going to go back and pick up some of that color. So if you're dabbing off on a piece of paper or a microfiber cloth, that ink is gone. You can't pick that back up. But if you do it on a slick surface, then it's definitely worth saving that ink. And like I said, see, like this is moving all over the place, which I hate, but I didn't pull out my glass mat and I shoulda. But it's a bit of a slow process, stenciling all the little areas, but it is so worth it. I'm not going to do the whole thing tonight. I'm only going to do a portion of it. So Amanda, if you're still watching, you're still going to have to do some stenciling. I'm going to go far enough that I'll show you how to line up the next section of your stencil. And I will do some splattering overall so that you can kind of see how that's done. So what I did was I kind of marked the start and end by just stenciling some acorns in that area so that I kind of know how far I'm going now. So I don't want to go past this one here. So now I'm just going to pick those acorns. And some of them are a little darker and some of them are a little lighter. That's okay. It kind of adds to the appeal when you're looking at it. It's not 100% perfect and it's not all evenly shaded. I'm kind of going for that look. So some of them have darker parts to them because it's like fresh ink on my brush. And other parts get a little bit lighter. Now you can see what I mean about how easy this is with this particular brush style. I really, really like it. I think you would have great success with the shader brushes as well. The ones that I showed you here from Waffle Flower, because those have a very small head as well, and it allows you to really get into the area that you are stenciling without getting into the other areas by accident. Because if your brush head is too big, it just doesn't work. And I think part of the reason I really love these is that the brushes are short, so they're really easy to control. I was super impressed when I first used them. I mean, I should have known, because Jennifer McGuire, she's really very, very good. If she endorses something, I generally like it. So I should have paid more attention, but I was just slow getting to the... Okay, I'm not going to do these two right here. I'm going to kind of see where I end up. I might go back and fill those in afterwards. And this isn't a perfect science. Once I had my whole border done on the paper over here, I kind of laid my stencil down in a couple areas and just did one acorn here or one acorn here, just to kind of fill it in if I felt like I needed to. But it was really, really easy to do. So I think I have most of the acorns done. So I'm going here to here. Okay, yep, so I have all the acorns done. So now I'm going to switch out my ink, and I am going to bring in the brushed corduroy. So this is that sort of mustardy color. And now I'm going to go in and add the hearts. Okay, and I'm just going to, again, circular motion, and just fill those in, and then come back here and pick up some more ink. I'm trying to watch for comments. Sometimes I get talking away. I forget to look up. So it's pretty easy. Once you get your general boundary, you just kind of stay within that, and you just fill them in. Be careful when you get close to the edge of the stencil. You don't want to go off and get stencil marks. But again, with the smaller blending brushes, I find it really easy to sort of stay in the lines. It's not hard at all. And I'm being mindful that some of my hearts are going to be a little lighter and some of them are going to be a little darker. And that's the look I'm kind of going for. Okay, I want to do these hearts here. And stenciling is one of my favorite things to do. So the fact that this takes just a little bit longer to do does not bother me at all. I think it's so rewarding to make your own designs on your paper. Now I just splooged right in there. So that was an oopsie, but that's okay. We can fix it. Okay, so I think I filled in pretty much all of what I want done. Maybe just this heart here. And this is where we're going to lift the stencil. And even if you have to go back in and fill in a little bit more, that is a-okay. So you can see right here, I have that mark that I went into the other area, but it's not going to matter because if you look at my layout here, you can see I have a little bit of a shadow mark here, but we're going to be actually using some leaf rub-ons, and I could put a leaf rub-on right over top of that. So it wouldn't matter. So now the next step is to take your stencil and you're never going to get it to line up with an acorn that you've stenciled here. You're going to kind of just try to nest it in and don't really overlap anything. Just kind of nest it in. And again, I'm going to get out that T ruler and make sure that where I'm placing it, I'm just placing it straight. It might be up or down more than it was before. That's okay. I just want to make sure that my stencil is straight. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to plunk it in there. Just making sure, I'm just moving it up and down so I can find a spot where the stuff is not overlapping. That looks pretty good. You know what? I'm probably going to end up stenciling the whole thing. It's just easier. Okay. Now we're going to go in and start the next phase. So I could go in with my hearts, but I prefer to start with the acorns. They're bigger, and it just helps me know how far up or down I have to go. So I'm going to bring my packaging back in here. And I'm just going to start adding acorns. And again, I can see that my design is kind of like coming across here. So I'm going to go up here and pull in the acorns. And I didn't clean my stencil off in between. I'm really trying to keep my ink very focused around the acorns. And even if I pick up a little bit of the yellow, it's not the end of the world. It's not changing the color. If you work with certain colors of ink, it could be a real problem. You might want to clean your stencil off before you come back in. But in this instance, it's not really interfering, so I'm not worried about it. If you ink very heavy-handed, you might find that you want to clean your stencil off, but I'm finding it's working okay for me. And now that I have this part down, it makes it really easy to know where to, like how high to stencil. I can already see that I'm going to have to do some filling in here, which is okay. Everyone's so quiet. Are you guys multitasking? Are you watching me and doing something else at the same time? But you're eagerly waiting for us to put the bundles up. This kit that I'm using right now is actually Amanda's kit. So she always gets the benefit of her background being done for her. And I asked her, I said, well, maybe I shouldn't do that because then you don't have the opportunity to create it. But she told me she was A-okay with that. So I kind of want to finish this part off for her. Not that it's halfway done. She has to try and line up her stencil. Okay, I think I'm going to stop. Oops, no, I got to do this one. There, and then I'm going to come in with my yellow. Sorry, brushed corduroy. It's not really yellow. It does come across as a mustardy yellow. And now I'm just going to start going in and doing those hearts. Anybody have any questions? Did you use a light hand on some acorns and heavy on other? You know, I'm kind of going in with the same pressure. It's just a matter of how much ink is on my brush. So then it does appear like some of them are heavier and some of them are not. But I would say my pressure is about the same on all of them. It's just a matter of how much ink is on my brush. So I don't go back and fill my brush up for every section. So the ink gets lighter kind of naturally. And that's why I kind of jump around a bit in different sections so that like all the hearts or acorns in one particular section don't look light or dark. But you can definitely, you know, keep inking up your brush and adding more. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. And now I'm just going to slide that over one more time, just to finish off. Now you can kind of see how I have some areas where the flow is not quite even, and I'll just go back and fill that in. So this one, I'm just going to be mindful that I want some of the pattern to be going off of the background, but then I want to make sure I'm not overlapping anywhere either. It's a bit tricky, and some of them might look overlapped, but I'm just going to kind of place this down and do the ones I know I can do, and then it's easy to fill in the rest. So now we're back to the brown. So I'm not going to come in over here because I don't want to overlap anything that's already done. I'm only going in the open areas. And remember, you're going to have photos over the majority of the center. So that part isn't as crucial as the areas above and below. Okay. Sometimes you have to make a hot mess before you can repair it all and make it look good. So don't panic if it's not 100% perfect right off the hop. Oops, I gotta do my yellow. So I only had to do a few there. And now I'm gonna come in, fill in some hearts. And then I'm gonna pull it off and I'll show you how you kind of fill in and smooth things out. Okay, don't want to go over there too much. All right, so let's lift this off. Okay, so I can see that I need something up here, and I'm gonna need maybe even some hearts. So there's an area here where there's like 3 hearts together. Where is that? I just saw it. Oh, right there. So I'm gonna fill that part in with 3 hearts. Now what I do want to be careful of is I don't want to be touching my stencil and then touching my paper. So be really careful not to get ink on your fingers and then press it onto your paper. So there I filled in that little spot there. And then down here, I think I need another acorn. So I'm gonna switch to the brown and fill that in. Definitely need some work over here. So that looks pretty good right there. I can just put that whole section. So I'm not worried about my stencil being straight anymore because I'm placing it where I want it to go. Just so I can fill in some of these areas. See, so now that's not as drastic anymore. I'm just gonna fill in something right here. We'll put another acorn right there. And maybe even that heart. So it kind of looks like it's slanting down a bit. I'm going to actually put in just a couple more things. I want to make sure I don't get the wrong ink in the wrong spot. Whoa. Okay, so that looks pretty good. All right, so now that I have the stenciling done, we're going to splatter. So to splatter, I'm going to clean off my scratch paper here. Just going to use a little bit of alcohol spray and a microfiber cloth. I'm just going to clean off this ink residue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ink pad. I'm going to use the brown, the vintage photo. Maybe I should use the back so you can actually see. Just smush some ink on there. And then I'm going to spray some water. I don't want it to be too saturated. And I'm going to pick up a paintbrush. And now I'm going to just take my paintbrush and I'm going to dip it in a little bit of water just to make the bristles wet. I don't want it dripping. Okay, and I'm going to bring my paper back in here. And I'm going to stir up this paint over here. And I'm going to start flicking. Now I'm mainly concentrating the splatter where the ink is going, or where the stenciling has been. I want it to go a little bit below. And definitely a little bit above. Now, you don't have to concentrate the splattering too much in the center, but if it makes you feel good, you just, splatter away because you're going to be covering it up. And then you're going to want to let this sit and dry really well so that you don't smudge the paint. Okay, so that gives you that nice brown ink. If you prefer to splatter in black by all means, you can use that Winsor & Newton ink and you can splatter in black, but I'm going to let that just sit now. So when I'm going to move it so I don't smush it, but if you, once it dries, you're going to come back in, you're going to get your photos kind of in place, and then you can see, I'll just hold this up a little bit more, that there are some leaves that I have used the rub-ons and just put them in. And it's wherever there were little holes or whatever, but you can rub on right over top of the acorns as well. But that is done after the splattering and everything is dry. I just sort of decided where they kind of needed to go. So you can go ahead and add some rub-ons in there as well. Now, I don't have a full rub-on sheet to demonstrate that part with, but what I am going to demonstrate is how to use a rub-on and the fact that you can overlap your rub-ons. Okay, so here is a rub-on. Let me grab the rub-on sheet. Okay, so this piece right here, I actually cut a section and I used it in the background. And then this quote, I rubbed right over top of that. And over here, we've got these leaves, and then I used the blessings word right over top of that. So you can rub on top of rub-ons, which is really fun. So as far as using a rub-on, I have a few extras in my bag here, and that's what I'm going to demo with. See what we got. So when you get your rub-ons, they kind of have a protective backing sheet. Rub-ons nowadays are way better than they used to be. Here's a little bit of that chicken wire stuff. So I'm going to rub that onto here, and then we'll rub on something over top just so you can see. So how do you apply a rub-on? Well, you want to make sure there's no backing piece on here. So you've got the rub-on exposed, and you're going to stick it down. And what I like to do, there's a popsicle stick that comes with it. I prefer to use a bone folder. This is a Teflon bone folder. We sell these in the store. This is the pencil one. It's my favorite. So you can use the pencil tip or you can use this end. I'm going to use the other end. And you just simply rub the rub-on. So you're going to want to add a fair bit of pressure. I mean, you don't want to add so much that you're like ripping it or anything, but you want to add good pressure, and you want to rub all over the area. Now this is a pretty big one, like it you know, requires a wide range of rubbing. If you're doing like a heart, it's more focused, so it's easy. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start to peel it up, but you want to do it slowly and make sure all of the rub-on has actually stuck to your paper. And if you find it hasn't, you just lay it back down and rub over that area and then lift it. So it's quite easy to use. And if it doesn't stick to your paper, it just simply means that you didn't rub that area enough. But if you go back and give it a little rub, it'll just go down. So this one is quite a big one. See, and it's hard to know where you've rubbed and where you haven't. So it's pretty easy just to go over those areas quickly, and then it's not a problem. So I wouldn't lift the whole thing up, just carefully lift a little bit at a time, because it does kind of stick to the paper. And there you go. So now you've got that is rubbed right onto your paper. So now let's say I want to take the word September and like rub that over top. So don't lay this down and then just think you're just rubbing the word September, because you might get part of this heart, and once it's down, you can't get it up. So what I would recommend doing is taking a pair of scissors and just cutting out the word September. And you don't have to cut it out nicely, because you're going to place it where you want it. And then you're going to go ahead and rub that down. So now we're putting a rub-on on top of a rub-on, which is really cool. So you can layer them really well. And you can see that I can really focus my rubbing easier when it's like a more bold or a larger piece. And again, I'm going to just start lifting that off. And wherever it doesn't lift up, you just give it a little rub and it'll stick down. So now we have the September rubbed over top of that. Pretty cool, right? So these areas where there's, like you can see the cardstock through there, it's designed like that. It's supposed to be sort of scuffed and distressed. It's not that nothing came off because there's nothing left on the paper. Okay, and then, you know, you can, I don't know, we can add a butterfly over here if you want to, and it kind of overlap the little piece. So super easy to do. Now, if you were, let's pretend this is the autumn word or the thankful word. You're going to rub this on to your paper, and then you're just going to cut around the outside edge, but you want to leave a little bit of white space. So I'm going to pull my autumn word up so you can kind of see it. So you can see how there's just a little bit of white space all the way around. Just try to be consistent and even, the best that you can. And then when you're done, take that brown distress ink and this tool and ink the edges of it, and that will take away all your imperfections. You won't see any jagged edges or anything. And then you just use foam dots to pop it up. And then you're going to tuck your other rub-ons underneath, so they look like they're coming in from behind. So that's how you do it. So when you look at your photo that comes with your kit, you will be able to see, you know, where the rub-ons are and the placement and stuff. The sheet is like a 6x8 sheet with the rub-ons, so it's not really hard to figure out which rub-ons are used in which spot. It's pretty easy to sort of figure out that sort of thing. So I'm just looking here. So this one has the 2 acorns on the bottom. So see, that's this piece right here. And then I added a little leaf there and one of the birds at the top. This one here has the 2 big oak leaves. So which one is that? Oh, it doesn't have 2 big oak leaves. It has 1 oak leaf, this one here. So that's this design. But I flipped it so the flower's at the top. And then this is an oak leaf. So there's just single leaves that you can use on the other side here. And that's just tucked in there. And then I put the Cozy and Blessings titles in there. And then that's the big chicken wire piece with that quote over the top. And then again, when you're all done with your major sections, then you can go back and add any spare leaves that you have into this area. And then I'm just going to go over this section here. So this one is this one here. Okay, that's really easy. This one here is this one. And this is this piece down here. Love that. Another quote over here. And then there's the thankful word. And then you've got a couple of floral clusters. There's one here, so that's this one. And this one here is this one here. Just flip it around. And then I added a bird. And I was just going to point something out. What was it? Oh, yeah. And then down in the bottom corner here, I just got a bunch of the small hearts and I lined them all up and I rubbed them on. Another quote down here in the bottom. So it's a ton of fun. The rub-ons are a lot of fun to play with. And you're not even going to believe how cool they look when you're all finished. Okay, I think I have demonstrated everything. I've talked about everything. We went over the add-ons. We went over the techniques, measurements, photos. I think that's it. So I'm going to sign off. And like I said, we're going to populate the category right now. What ink did you use under the numbers? Oh, that would be the brushed corduroy. I chose to use the mustard color, but either one would work, the brown or the brushed corduroy. You can choose. You might even want to pick a different color. Shelby's going to go add the bundles to the category, and you can shop till you drop, and then they will be ready for pickup on Tuesday. Pickup and shipping will start Tuesday. All right. So happy creating. I will probably be back at some point tomorrow with another live. I have a basket full of new product to share. I will send an email out sometime tomorrow, so everyone's going to know that the bundles are live. So don't hesitate. We keep increasing our numbers, but more and more people are joining in. So don't wait too long before you go shopping for your things. All right. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.